Welcome to the Filmmaker to Filmmaker podcast, the podcast where I, a filmmaker, talk to other filmmakers about their career in the film industry and learn about their latest project. My name is B. Anthony, and thank you for listening. And welcome to Filmmaker to Filmmaker podcast. I am your host, B. Anthony. Welcome. And Richard Donner made you believe that a man could fly. And now James Gunn simply just wants you to look up. If you haven't guessed it, those are the respective taglines from the first Superman movie to the current Superman movie that was just released. And needless to say, I'm excited. And I wanted to talk about it, A, because it's a movie, and B, I think it's pretty cool just to see where this is going. And I asked my friend Amul to come on and discuss it with me.
Hi, everybody.
This is Amul. I met him through, I think officially through Portrait Meet DC. It was the first time we really interacted.
Yes.
But we've taken photography workshops together. We've done photo meets. And we've just been being cool for the past year.
We're in one of my favorite pictures now of all time. It's the one where we were at the Coffee and Cameras event.
Yes, where I was.
Yeah.
I was uber scared, by the way, and I was about to leave.
Yeah.
And Mike saw me about to sneak out, and he called me, and he was like, "Hey, where are you going?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And I looked, and I didn't see him around, and he was like over here, and so I found him, or he found me, and him and Natasha was like, "What are you doing?" And so I went back, and then that's where you saw me forcing myself to talk to people. Because I'm shy.
You were a natural at it. You were. It's one of my favorite photos because, like, I'm there, you're there, and then there's this woman named, I think her name is Madeline.
Yeah.
And at the time, she was considering joining Portrait Meet. And it's just, I don't know who took the photo, whether it was Mike or Tasha or somebody else entirely, but it's just the three of us. And it's such a good photo, in my opinion.
And the thing about it, however I looked in that photo, I was 10 times the opposite of that. I was so freaking like insecure and self-conscious, and
you could have fooled us. You didn't look insecure at all.
And that was my first time meeting Follow Don.
Yeah.
And so I was intimidated by him because I had previously met him or interacted with him a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, this guy's a genius with the camera. Why am I talking to him? So I was just having a moment where I was just like, how do I get out of the space? But thankfully I stayed. You came over and you were like, I think one of the first things you said to me was, I'm glad that you're here. And I was like, okay, well, that helps. And then I just remember talking for hours to Madeline.
Yeah.
But you agreed to come on.
Yes, I did.
So I guess my first, just to get the conversation going, trailer debuts.
Yes.
You see it. And what were your initial thoughts? Let's start there.
Don't give me hope. 4 words. Don't give me hope. We have been let down time and time again. Superman has been a part of my life since I was a kid. Superman has been a part of a lot of people's lives since they were kids, I imagine. But specifically for me, yeah. And so it just, with all the false starts and will Henry Cavill get another movie, even though he should, and the studio decided against it, And then there was Crisis on Infinite Earths, which, in my opinion, if you haven't seen that piece of TV, it is brilliant. We'll get into that later. But don't give me hope, because they're building it up to be this great epic thing. Okay, fine. Let's do that. Let's build it up so that we're good for the next 10 years. I don't even want to think about what happens if it doesn't work out. But I just hope this is the last quote unquote reboot for a while.
Sure.
It took me a while to be okay with Rachel Brosnahan being Lois, mostly because I loved her as Midge from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I was like, okay, let me give this a chance. Whereas probably younger me would have been like, yeah, this makes no sense. But I'm glad that I'm in the frame of mind in my life now, the phase of my life where, I can just let things gestate and, think about things, as it were.
Okay. That was the funniest. I wasn't expecting you to say that. Wow. That really caught me off guard, but I understand it on so many levels. I don't even want to say what I was thinking now because it's not that awesome.
What were you thinking? No, what were you thinking? You've opened the can of worms. Like, don't,
So
don't be River Song in this case.
No, you so when I first saw the trailer and it started out with the Arctic, and I was like, okay, Fortress of Solitude, they're going to start there. I thought they were going to show something a little bit more majestic with the fortress, and Superman was going to fly out or something along those lines.
That would have been nice to see.
And instead, when they show him or showed him, bloody and bruised and barely breathing in the snow in like
I love that.
A fetal position, it was jarring for me because I'm like, that's an interesting way to start out the trailer. Because traditionally, when you're trying to sell these films, you always show the money shots, right?
Right.
And historically speaking, because clearly superhero fan, you always show those super heroic moments, right? Mm-hmm. So case in point, when they did Man of Steel, one of the key shots that I remember is him leaving the Fortress of Solitude in that trailer, and him flying for the first time, him coming through the fire even though he wasn't wearing the suit. Mm-hmm. Even with Superman Returns, him standing up to those bullets bouncing off of him, and then the bullet ricocheting off of his eye. And these are just the Superman examples, right? So when I saw this approach, I was like, well, this already doesn't. Why are we here? Like, why aren't we starting with the money shots? And then the other thing that kind of got me off kilter was Crypto. I was like, is this a Crypto movie?
I love that.
And how upset is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson now to know that they've kind of pulled this off a little bit better than the cartoon movie? And I just went to the first time I saw it, I was just like, I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah.
The only part that I got excited about it when I first watched it was when I saw Lex, and I said, okay, this guy, Nicholas Hoult, who I loved him as Beast.
So did I. Thought he was great as Beast.
Yeah, great Beast. I just thought, okay, he is giving me Lex vibes. Like, there's just a menace to him. And then when I saw Mr. Terrific, I was like, okay, this actually looks better than the other shots that they had. And so I said, let me watch it again. I watched it again, and initially I just thought, okay, this is okay.
Yeah.
It's just okay for me. it wasn't until I heard other like real Superman fans talking about it, and I heard the joy that they got from it, where I was
Mhm,
like, well, let me go watch this again. Maybe I'm just off. Like,
mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
then I watched it one more time, and I was like, okay, I can get it now because there's this callback to what Superman represents,
Right.
and
And
so
it shows him in a relatable state
in a
for
relatable state.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so after I kind of caught on to that vision of the character, I was like, okay, I can see where this could skew a little bit more towards the positive end.
yeah.
But initially, I was just like, I'm not sure, or I don't know what to make of this. Especially, I enjoyed what Snyder did.
So did I.
I enjoyed Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Um, I don't blame Snyder or the cast for that last segment of movies. I
No,
primarily
I
put that
neither.
on the studio, to be honest with
Yeah.
you,
Same here.
um, for so many reasons. But I don't think they really gave them a chance to really execute the
Yeah.
vision that Snyder presented. But if you pitch that last version of Superman, what I have to assume is that they weren't really in tune with what the fans really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
What I am getting this time around is that James Gunn brilliantly, at bare minimum, got the core Superman fans on board with the movie.
Right. And
And
the core Justice League, and the core Justice League
which
fans.
which I did hear that he's basing DC Studios off of the animated series.
Good. It's
So that Aaron Pierre being Green Lantern makes sense.
it's about bloody time.
Yeah, and
If I can say that.
no, you're fine. And
Okay.
and admittedly, I agree with you because I think that probably captured everything good about DC. Those 3 seasons of Justice League, and I think like two or
there's there's 4 seasons of Justice League, maybe 3, but then there's like 2 or 3 of Justice League Unlimited.
Unlimited. So
It,
those
it's all sort of it's amalgamation of everything. Like
right,
it all just runs for 5 seasons.
right, and so I thought that in and of itself, if that's the direction he's going in, perfect. Like I think that had the best balance of all of those characters. Um, even down to like the ones you don't know, which
Right.
that really was my favorite part. Mephisto, not Mephisto. Why do I keep saying Mephisto? God dang it.
I don't know.
Meta
Metamorpho.
Yeah,
Metamorpho.
him.
Yeah.
The shot of him, Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific. Guy Gardner.
Is yeah.
I thought
Which is a choice.
right.
It's a choice. Like we're so used to the Jon Stewarts from Justice League and Justice League, United or Unlimited. United. I'm so sorry.
We're just messing up all of our franchises today.
Yeah, we're just messing up. Yeah, we're just yeah. Anyway, but that's why I said don't give me hope, because if it can be as good as the Justice League, animated series, great. I would love for that to happen. Like that's where, like you and I were talking before this. My best friend and I would walk around occasionally and be like, "Okay, I'm Soups," because they used to call me Soups back in college, and then he's Batman. And if there's one thing that I recommend to everyone listening to this, get yourself a best friend who's smarter than you. He'll probably say I'm smarter than him. That's fine. But I think he's smarter than me, in my humble opinion. But it's just fun, and it's not going to be Kevin Conroy, and I forgot who voiced Superman in the animated series.
Oh
But,
God,
but
I
in
forgot
Justice League,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's going to be similar. And then when they brought out Crypto, listen, I don't have a dog yet. I'm a Sox fan. Of course, I'm gonna name it, David Ortiz at some point if I ever get a dog. But now I might name my dog Crypto whenever I get it,
So
because why not?
that was a brilliant move actually on his part.
Yeah,
I forgot that in this country, especially within the DMV area,
yeah,
there are so many dog lovers. Like,
yeah.
and I think that was a good move. And maybe I'm overthinking it, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but a lot of people are really into crypto, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why. And because I just feel like the dog in and of itself, I remember the Superpowers team.
Yeah.
That was more of a Superboy thing on
Right.
the cartoon, but
Right.
I'm learning that no, people really value crypto.
It goes back to Smallville. I know you mostly wanted to talk about films.
Oh no, you're fine.
And
You're
this,
fine.
but like Smallville, I think had crypto for a little while.
For a little while.
For like him growing up. The Superman and Lois show also had a version of crypto. It helps make things relatable, I think, and it allows for a little bit of comedic tension and a little bit of humor here and there. Plus, the dog's cute. Like, there was such a great move having James Gunn be like, you know what, I've got a dog. I'm gonna put a dog in this movie, and just make as best of a movie as I can. I wish that they would have had Echo Kellum from the TV show Arrow, who played Mr. Terrific, join the cast. I recognize that there are plenty of actors out there. I recognize that each new actor that gets cast gets an opportunity to put their own spin on the role, and that's great. I'm certainly excited to see it, but there are certain characters that, like Stephen Amell has said he wants to come back for Arrow, or as Green Arrow. If Echo Kellum was cast as Mr. Terrific, I would have been fine with that. But I loved what I saw from the trailer. I just wonder how fast they can roll these out now, because it's been 20 years?
Yeah.
Maybe. We're in 2024. It's been 24 years since the animated series ran on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So, how fast can they get these movies out?
Well, I think from what James Gunn, and I've heard him say this like from his mouth, they're not making anything where the script isn't ready.
That's fair.
So, from him specifically, I do believe that because he's a writer and a director. And so he's very serious about making sure the stories are tight. And from what I've seen, I just started Creature Commandos yesterday, as a matter of fact.
So have I. It's really good.
It's good. And I like how he's retconning. Well, not retconning. He's speaking to a lot of what I guess seemed inappropriate from the Suicide Squad movie, like how he cleaned up the whole Weasel thing.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then really the Amanda Waller, he's doing a good job of just really making everything tight about who he does bring over from the past and who he wants to incorporate from the future. But yeah, he already said that unless the script is right, he's not approving anything.
Right.
And that actually is what gives me hope.
I'm okay with
that. More than the trailer itself, hearing how he's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Because these are big investments.
They are.
And so I feel like he's going to knock this out of the park, and then whoever comes after him, they're going to have to meet that standard or better, and they're going to have to know the character very, very good.
Yeah.
Whether that's Superman or Batman or whomever, the character is just gonna have to be. Uh, they're gonna have to do fan service, but then also it's gonna have to be commercial enough to reach people who don't read comics
and
at all.
and that too. Like, please don't do another origin story. Like, we've had so many. Like,
I
start with year 2 or year 3. Like, start with them being already friends. You know, um, just because that would make more sense. You know.
I think that's where they're starting. From what I understand, this is 2 years after he's already been
Okay.
on Earth. Lex already hates him, so it's not him coming in the spaceship or anything like that.
Okay. All right. That's good.
And as a matter of fact, from what I've read, all the heroes are. It's a world of heroes,
Okay.
so they're not trying to Iron Man it, right?
Yeah.
And introduce a new hero every movie.
Yeah.
Which I think is the right way to go about it. I wish Snyder would have did that a little bit more, because I still felt like, even though Batman was already existing, he, for whatever reason, chose to still do the backstory without doing the backstory.
Right.
And the same thing with Clark. And we had to do it with Diana. And then my only complaint with Dawn of Justice is that sequence where they introduced all of the Justice League.
Yeah.
But he clicks on a file that looks like it was from 1995,
right.
And it came out of like, and they had all their logos there.
Yeah.
For me, that it was just like, but
that was, I mean, to borrow a term that Gen Z uses, that was sus. Like, you know, if you're gonna sit there, if you're gonna sit there and introduce everybody through logos, I remember, I'll reference my friend Adam again. He and I were there, we were watching it, and I had asked my friend Kelly. We often refer to her as the Wonder Woman of the group, but you know, so we're trying to have our own little Justice League. This is 5-10 years ago, I think, but we were just being snarky because we couldn't take the movie. We liked the movie, and I know you liked the movie, but we couldn't take it seriously. Like, if it's not going to take the IP seriously, if it's not going to, you know, stoke our intellectual curiosity and make us go, okay, that's a new way of looking at things. That's an interesting way of doing things. Sure, let's just have them fight each other for the whole movie, when in reality, what they fought for 15-20 minutes per the comics, something like that. Or
and a lot of that for me, I was just like, I waited literally almost 2 hours to get to this point, and then you're gonna force this fight of Doomsday. And I was just like, I'm loving it, but I just feel like this is a lot happening in one movie, and you could have took out that whole part about this, how do we view Superman, whatever. That should have been Man of Steel 2. But even with that could have just been done a little bit more cleaner. But again, I don't try to that was Mr. Snyder's vision, and I get it. I just I wanted more fights.
It's a missed opportunity. Like, it would have been nice to see Batman and Wonder Woman flirting a little bit in the Snyderverse, but that's okay. You know, that's fine. Like, you know, and it's not to say that I don't respect where Snyder's vision was. I do. I love that. I love that. I mean, it sort of bugs me that they introduced, you know, John Johns and a, you know, in a teaser scene at the end, but you know, that's fine. We all have choices to make.
But I think going back and looking at Man of Steel, he was trying to tell us that that's who he was the entire time. I just think that, again, they didn't really give him the space to flesh it out because they saw it wasn't making the money. But he was trying to tell us without telling us. So yeah, and I'm sorry, hands down, Snyder gave us the best, and I will fight anyone over this point because he gave us the best fight scene with Batman ever caught on camera. with that warehouse scene.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That was the best. I'll say this: best in the modern era. Because I'm sure that some don't view Nolan's Batman in the same light. You know, they probably view it as, oh, that was 2012, that was 12 years ago. But for something that happened recently, yeah, best in the modern era.
Nolan's films, and specifically The Dark Knight,
yes,
that forever will be one of the, in my opinion, it's the main film that changed comic book films altogether.
I agree.
And it helped give it more depth, and it made them intelligent, and it went beyond just popcorn, fun, excitement, but it really introduced some ideas that we are talking about today. Like, if you go and look at The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Returns, literally a lot of those concepts are in the world right now. And so Nolan did a good job of really humanizing and making the character itself relatable. The action sequences, and they were okay, but I will never, I can't think of another comic book film that has changed the entire genre outside of the original Superman.
There isn't one. I mean, there are TV shows that are on par with, like, you know, I mentioned Crisis on Infinite Earths before, where it was just, you know, Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. They brought in Superman's Tom Welling. They brought in Brandon Routh to play Superman Returns. Like, he was already on Legends, but like, to be able to put that together in a time when Superman wasn't as active on our movie screens, and to be able to put something that with that kind of quality, I think that's why DC was like, all right, let's shut that down and let's move back to movies. And I love what Gunn's doing with Creature Commandos. He mentioned how everything from TV is going to sync into the movies, and I absolutely love that, because that makes a whole lot of sense.
The transition between, because I saw that in the latest episode of Creature Commandos, where they kind of hint at what could happen, and they even brought in, what's his name, John Cena's
Peacemaker.
Yeah. They're even integrating that a little bit better.
And Grant Gustin's talked about coming back too. Grant Gustin's talked about coming back as well. So it's just a really nice way for TV and for the movies to sync up together, because that in and of itself shows that there's some synchronicity, stuff that Marvel had as well. And there's just, from that standpoint, it helps us put DC and Marvel. I'm not going to say DC and Marvel is going to be on par with each other. That's not going to happen for a minute. Let DC have its runway. Let DC do its thing. But I think eventually we're looking at DC and Marvel being equals again. At least for the moment, that's not the case.
I'm gonna wait and see, because Feige is really being very careful with the X-Men properties right now, and so I think he's really going to take his time, especially after this whole Doomsday Saga.
You don't like the Doomsday Saga?
Well, oh god, we don't have the time. Here's my thing with the Doomsday Saga.
It's your pod, bro.
I'm trying to understand, because with Doctor Doom, who I love the Fantastic Four, the Human Torch, my favorite. I think, again, you're taking a big leap by using Doom as the focus character, and you're forcing the audience to kind of forget a lot. and it's kind of like medicine you don't a child doesn't want to take,
Yeah.
and the sugar is Robert Downey Jr. I feel like that's what's happening.
I mean, they had
And
to. They had to because of what happened with the. I forgot the guy's name, but the guy who
Jonathan
plays. Yeah,
Majors.
Jonathan Majors, the guy who played Kang. They sort of had to.
But now he's been not exonerated, but the charges have been dismissed.
Right.
I feel like they should have waited.
Right.
And if anything, to the point that I was trying to make earlier, I would have took a pause and went to the mutants already.
Yeah.
But he wants to do this storyline, and then that's why I said I just want to wait and see what Marvel's about to do, because they're bringing back Chris Evans,
Right.
but allegedly he's playing an evil version of Captain America.
He's playing Nomad, I think.
No, okay, so he's doing that. I just the multiverse, I think, did more damage than good, and so I'm just trying to understand moving forward what Marvel's going to look like. That's why I'm holding my breath, just to see what's going to happen.
I can understand where people say that the multiverse did more damage than good. I definitely think it jumped the shark. I love Marvel now compared to, I love DC growing up, but there's only so much you can take it, and you have to pivot at some point. I thought they did with Loki, and then they just, they did pivot a little bit with Loki, and made him the god of, spoiler alert, they made him the god of, what is it, god of dreams or something.
Dreams or something like that, yeah.
But they should have, I agree with you, they should have introduced the X-Men ages ago. I'm glad they did Deadpool. I'm glad they did Deadpool and Wolverine. Thrilled that they did that. But like Ryan Reynolds joked, and that they're gonna make Hugh Jackman do this until he's 90.
Until he's 90, till he's literally Old Man Logan.
Are we expected to keep watching till we're 90 as well? Because are we gonna? I get it. Some of us are gonna have kids. Some of us already have kids.
Well, that's the thing. Your kids, are if you have kids, or our age group, their kids are into anime and video games more so than comic books.
Right.
And so the industry has already taken a pivot towards that direction anyway.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so content, and then especially depending on what the movie consumption is going to look like, whether it's in a theater or at home, I think only time will tell.
Right.
I feel like comic book movies itself probably has another solid decade before it takes another pivot, probably to streaming only. But that's just my opinion. I think with DC, because that's who we're talking about.
Yeah, circling back to being relatable.
They're in a good position now, because at bare minimum, they got the fanboys excited.
Yes.
And with that in mind, what was your favorite moments or shots from the trailer?
Oh boy. Okay. The crypto shot, for obvious reasons.
Okay.
Lois. I guess it's Rachel Brosnahan. I wanted to see how she looks as Lois. I liked the establishment of world building. You've got in that one shot with, I think it's the shot before Hawkgirl, where Guy Gardner's pointing his ring at somebody and Superman's fighting somebody.
Yeah.
And then there was a third superhero too. I'm curious to know. Well, I guess my last favorite scene is the inclusion of the kaiju, which I don't think I've seen since I was like 12 years old, maybe.
So
Superman fighting a kaiju?
Yeah, I remember before there was a Superman cartoon from the 40s.
Yeah.
Where he was fighting monsters or like these kaiju big machine type whatevers.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this in this one, I was like, oh, okay. They're taking that approach. I'm okay with it. I would just like to know where these creatures coming from. Like, are they going to explain that?
Well,
And then does that change the scope or what the source of the real antagonist is? Because like you're talking about world building,
yeah,
and I think that's a great point. I hope they address that as opposed to just saying we wanted to do something different, so we're using monsters instead of.
I think that's going to be part of the exposition. It better be. Like,
Yeah.
it just sounds like, and it sounds like to me, and I'm just going to put this out there, I'm going to guess. I'm going to make an educated guess. I think it's going to be Guy Gardner who makes that. Yeah, I think it's going to be him that explains it. Because to me, it's the haircut. I'm sorry. I know that haircut is from like the 40s or 50s. I get it. I respect that you're keeping true to the way he looked, but he just looks like someone who would explain something. So, and it would just be hysterical for me. I think. You okay? Am I cracking you up too much? Am I cracking you up too much? Probably. But sorry about that. Seriously. But yeah, it just looks like from that vantage point, in that particular scene, that he would probably explain where the kaiju came from, if not Superman alone. If Superman didn't.
I have heard a lot of things.
Or maybe Hawkgirl will. We'll see.
I've never heard that about that character in particular, where the haircut is going to be how everything is explained. And why not?
I mean,
that is the funniest thing.
Think back to Justice League, the animated series, right? Think back to that, okay? Think back to when, and I just saw this today, where the Aquaman is struggling. He's lost his, they can't get a pulse, right? He's about to die. Doctor doesn't know what to do with him. Out of the blue, Batman goes, put him in some water.
Salt water,
and keep the saline at 3.5%. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, he just.
So you think Guy Gardner is going to be the one to explain?
Probably. Why not?
Okay.
Why not? Let's see what happens. I mean, if it's Hawkgirl, that's fine too. It might be Superman. But I think for the purposes of world building and giving everyone equal time in the movie itself, I think that would be fun. I also think there might be some teases too. We might get a tease into like Batman or, Diana, coming around. So that'd be cool.
They already kind of did that in Creature Commandos, mentioning Themyscira.
You're ahead of me. I think I'm behind.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
Don't worry about it.
I won't say anymore.
It's okay. You can spoil it for me. It's okay.
No, well, they sort of kind of address that there's awareness of that world.
Yeah.
And other heroes. So, and then I'll wait till you get a little bit further. But there's a moment with Amanda Waller.
It's fine.
Where Gunn literally establishes that all of your favorites are here. So
just tell me this, and it's okay that you spoil it for me. I don't mind. I do enjoy spoilers, but is the person who voices Amanda Waller the same as the old animated series?
No. Viola Davis.
Oh, okay. Viola Davis does it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That'd be interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit better than the way it used to be.
I mean, I'm enjoying her right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed her in the original Suicide Squad movie. She was probably one of my favorite parts.
Oh, yeah. She was one of my favorites too. Like, I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it streaming and was just like, okay, this is where we are right now.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. I didn't like Enchantress.
Okay.
My friend, when I went to the movies, my friend was like, did she watch a Rihanna video or something? Because there was a lot of just dancing on her part. But Yeah, that was pretty funny. Okay. My favorite part, like I said, was Lex.
Yeah, what was your favorite
and seeing Lex, and seeing Superman fight the kaiju,
part? Okay.
and then I think the only other part that I really got excited about was just seeing him fighting Ultraman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not,
just looked pretty intense.
I'm not as familiar with Ultraman as others might be. So
It's kind of like a Elseworld version of Superman, or I know I just said that I hate the multiverse,
like a dark
but
version, like an
like
evil
a dark
version,
version,
evil version of
yeah.
Superman. Yeah. They
Yeah.
also have Bizarro Superman apparently out there, but I don't know if he's ever gonna fight Bizarro in this universe.
Well, that's the thing. I think because Ultraman his face is covered,
Yeah.
so there's this big mystery of who is under the mask.
Yeah.
And they think it's going to be a clone of David Cornsweet, the guy who's playing Superman. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Okay, so moving from there, we kind of already talked about this. As far as the whole DC Studios overall, what do you think Gunn is going to do?
I think Gunn is going to start. I think Gunn is going to basically with Gods and Monsters. You've got Superman, then he's going to roll out Batman at some point. Wonder Woman. I want him to establish the Justice League alongside John Jones. I think that he's going to bring those. He's going to bring those characters to life, and then it's my hope. This is why I say, don't give me hope. It is my hope is that we get the live action Justice League and Justice League Unlimited that we got. Like, we got the animated version when we were kids. You know, we were just in college. But now we can get, you know, the rest of it. We can get him in live action, you know. And
yeah.
I would really there were some characters on there too. Robo, the guy that was on the motorcycle, who Superman would have occasional tiffs with. I want to see like Nick Cage maybe.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna do a little fan casting. Or maybe somebody else, because I think Nick Cage is promised to Marvel for a little while. But
he's doing Spider-Man Noir right now.
Yeah, so he's probably not available. But just having, like, you know, I don't know how they would do it from a movie perspective. Maybe have 2 or 3 villains at once. But, you know, that would be nice. And then to have Lex form the evil, the villain squad that he had.
Yeah. The Legion of Doom.
The Legion of Doom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to see. The one thing I don't want to see is that say, let's give the Legion of Doom their own movie. Why?
Well, I think Craven just killed that idea. So,
yeah.
And I don't want them to make this Clayface movie.
But you know, Sony's going to probably, or not Sony. Sorry. They're making a Clayface movie? Oh.
Yeah.
Batman better be a part of it then.
They're saying he's not going to be in it, so.
The origin of Clayface then?
This man is getting the whole movie. I don't know how this is going to work, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish Gunn well, but, you know, we just want a live action version of the animated. Yeah, that's all I'm asking for.
I agree. I think what's going to influence that is whatever Matt Reeves is doing with his Batman universe. I think the success of that will kind of determine how fast we get a Batman movie that can be a part of this universe.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would be okay if they didn't make any more sequels to the Batman, but I also know the Penguin just kind of encouraged them to keep going.
The Penguin's really good.
And no, I loved every episode.
Yeah.
But I also know because of that, there's a renewed interest in that version of Batman.
That's
so
okay.
I think
bring him into the fold.
Well, Matt Reeves said that's not happening. So
okay, well, one thing leads to another.
Yeah,
the world revolves around money, so
that we'll see. That's my only pause because I don't know how they're going to really negotiate that, especially with Matt Reeves.
Yeah.
Really having control over that particular branch of DC. That's the only thing that I would want them to kind of clean up, which is saying whether that Batman is going to be part of the universe or if they're going to go in a different direction. And if they are going to go in a different direction, then they need to end the Matt Reeves universe, and whatever Gunn wants to do, they just need to do that with him.
Yeah.
So
it was Lobo, not Robo. I just looked it up.
Oh, I was like Robo, and I was like,
no, Lobo. Yeah,
I think he's definitely coming.
Yeah.
You know who's playing him?
Brad Garnett, probably the guy who voiced him.
No.
Who would play him? Who would play him?
Arnold? They are
Schwarzenegger.
No. I think they're trying to insinuate that Momoa's going to play him.
Oh. Okay, that's different.
So he had a meeting with DC and he left the DC office feeling uber excited. So I don't know. That's me speculating, but there was a video on his Instagram of him getting very excited about the potential of playing that character. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
I thought he might cross over as Aquaman, but that's okay. Do you think Gal Gadot will cross over as Wonder Woman?
From what I understand, they're not going to use her as Wonder Woman anymore. They're going to do something new.
Do they know who they're going to cast as Wonder Woman?
I don't think so. At least they haven't made it public yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to see who they cast, and basically all the roles. Like, we have Hawkgirl. Are we getting Jon Stewart?
Yeah, that's Aaron Pierre.
Yeah, okay. So if we're getting Jon, and we're getting Jon Jones at some point, when are we getting Zatanna? Is Zatanna getting, cast? I'm just going off the unlimited. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many characters that they need to cast. And I'm sure they have the other thing is it's hard to get actors to be attracted to DC because they've had so many flops.
Yes.
So that's the other challenge that they have. And so if they do it, it's definitely going to have to be a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, that's why, this is probably with my friends. We just stopped calling ourselves the Justice League because it got so annoying. Like, I'm sorry. We're not doing that anymore. There's other things we can call ourselves. We'll be the Avengers. At least we're well funded.
That is funny.
Yeah.
So real quick, what outside of this upcoming Superman film, out of all the content that's been released, what's your favorite iteration or iterations of Superman?
Favorite iterations of Superman.
Film, television, video game, whichever one you want to go with. There are no limits.
Can I pick one that I thought was weird? It's not my favorite.
Sure.
I'm gonna botch this so bad, but is the video game Superman where he was fighting other people or whatever?
Is it Gods and Monsters?
I don't know. Maybe. It was a while ago, 5-6 years back.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. And that was the weirdest thing. Like, okay, I get it. You want to make a Mortal Kombat for superheroes, but that's not the move. Like, you know what I mean? My favorites, in order first to however which way. Christopher Reeve, 100%. I grew up watching him. He's always going to be tops in my book. Same with Kevin Conroy, always going to be tops in my book. I think I really enjoyed. I'm going to skip over the Dean Cain years because, I think we all want to forget the Dean Cain years. Especially
Terry Hatcher was pretty cool on that show, though.
She was. Terry Hatcher was pretty cool on that show. I enjoyed Tom Welling as Superman, so I'll slot him in there as number 2. And then for Superman and Lois, when they were crossing over with what's his name, with the Arrowverse?
Arrowverse.
Yeah, the Arrowverse. I'll slot him at 4. And have Henry Cavill be slotted in at 3. Because to me, like, that was just classic. And I'm sorry, who wouldn't want Amy Adams as your Lois Lane? Like, that was, to me, perfect casting. I know
a lot of people didn't like her.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I thought she was good.
They're more than welcome to have their opinion, even though it's a wrong one. That's okay. I think that's I haven't seen any of aside from the trailer. I haven't seen David's yet. David Cornswalk. But yeah, I haven't seen.
Yeah,
those.
I think that's the most that we've gotten.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Man of Steel.
Okay.
Superman 1, Superman 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this.
Here we go.
But it's special to me, the Superboy series.
Okay. Why is it special to you? Why does it hold a place in your heart?
For it to be syndication, I thought the writing was actually pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought it was just pretty cool the way that they did it. I thought, truthfully, that was a little bit better than Lois and Clark.
Okay. That makes sense.
But I just enjoyed it. And then outside of that, I'm going to say the animated series. Because I think the animated series, the first season, or the earlier seasons, did what the Batman, the animated series, did for a lot of people, which is just made aware of how vast his rogues gallery is, and how cool of a character Superman really is. And they made him a little bit more vulnerable in that one.
They did.
Which I appreciated. That episode where he goes evil, and Darkseid kind of like gets his mind. There's just so many good episodes on the animated series. And then Livewire, she was just funny to me. And again, these are all characters that I will hope to see in the movie version. But those are my picks. So.
Okay. I didn't include the animated series. To me, the Superman, Batman, and Justice League, to me, they're just goated. Like, they're just on another plane, another level. I love the crossovers between Superman and Batman, where, like, Superman's trying to be Batman.
Yeah.
And Robin's like, right side instead of left side. So.
Yeah. I mean, the world's finest animated movie will forever be iconic to me because Batman threw Superman and it caught Superman off guard.
Yeah.
And that was just funny to me. Just the gall that Batman felt that he could even do that.
Right.
Like, he wasn't even fazed by the fact that this man, with the snap of a finger, could literally snap him in two.
And there's another version too out there where I want to say I guess it's Old Man Superman or Old Man Batman, who's like talking to Clark, and there's something about government control where and I forgot the name of that, but that to me
was it The Dark Knight?
I think it was The Dark Knight. That was so well done. The Dark Knight
Returns.
Yeah, that was so well done. In my opinion, just the dichotomy of like, okay, well, yes, I agree with you, but I also side with the government, which is, I mean, ironic. But you've got Superman doing that, then you had Captain America doing that on the Marvel side for a hot minute before he decided to go wet. Like, I get it, but I don't know. That's a whole nother podcast, I think. A whole nother topic, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that just means you have to come back, and we can
talk about anything and everything. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the riffing. I'm cool with riffing about different camera brands as well. And
oh boy.
And riffing about my beloved Capster songs too. So you're
well said. Well said. And on that note, thank you for listening to Filmmaker to Filmmaker. For more information, you can visit my podcast or learn more about my podcast by going to Instagram at Filmmaker to Filmmaker. Amul, if you want people to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way that you can connect with me, I apologize, my camera is frozen again, is you can connect with AM23 Photography on IG. And if you want to read any of my stuff, I still have stuff from college up until now. It is absent any sensitive topics that you might believe, topics that you might believe to be sensitive at cognitoergosum.net. So looking forward to connecting with you all. Thanks for having me on, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Filmmaker to Filmmaker podcast. For more information, you can visit our Instagram at Filmmaker to Filmmaker. See you next time.